My wife threw her phone at me. Read it. I'm bored of hiding it. The texts were to her coworker. All of them. I handed it back. Noted. I took the spare key from her purse. I drove to her mother's house with a single folder, and the silence after that said everything. I'm 42, married for 16 years. 2 kids, ages 12 and 9. We met in our mid-20s, got married fast because she was pregnant, but it worked. Or I thought it worked. We built a life. House in the suburbs, decent careers, family vacations every summer. The usual script. I thought we were happy. Turns out I was the only one following the script. 3 weeks ago, I came home from work on a Thursday around 6:30. Normal time. The kids were at their after-school programs, wouldn't be back until 7. I walked into the kitchen and found my wife sitting at the table, her phone in front of her, glass of wine already half empty. We need to talk, she said without looking up. My stomach dropped immediately. Nobody starts a conversation that way unless something's already broken. Okay. About what? She picked up her phone, unlocked it, and threw it across the table at me. It skidded to a stop right in front of where I was standing. Read it. I'm bored of hiding it. I picked up the phone. The messages were already open. A conversation with someone labeled as a coworker's name. I scrolled up. Months of messages. Flirty at first. Then explicit. Plans to meet. Complaints about me. About our marriage. About how she felt trapped. How she deserved more. How he made her feel alive again. I read for maybe 2 minutes. Then I set the phone down, slid it back across the table to her. Noted. She looked up at me, confused. Like she'd expected yelling or tears or something dramatic. That's it. Noted. What do you want me to say? I want you to react. I want you to care. I do care. But I'm not going to give you a performance. You've already made your decision. I'm just acknowledging it. You're not even going to fight for us. There's no us to fight for. You threw that away when you started sleeping with him. I never said I slept with him. You didn't have to. The texts make it clear enough. She took another sip of wine. So what now? Now I figure out what comes next. And you should probably start doing the same. I walked out of the kitchen, went upstairs to our bedroom. Her purse was on the dresser. I took the spare house key off her keyring, the one to my mother-in-law's house that she'd had for years. Then I grabbed a folder from my office, the one I'd been keeping for the past 3 months. I'd suspected something was wrong since summer. Small things at first. Her phone always face down. New passwords I didn't know. Coming home later than usual with vague excuses about traffic or work meetings. I'm not stupid. I know the signs. So I'd started documenting. Screenshots of strange charges on credit cards. Records of her location history from our shared phone plan. A timeline of her behavior changes. I'd even hired a private investigator for 2 weeks in September. Got photos. Got confirmation. I'd been waiting for the right moment to confront her. Turns out she'd confronted herself. I came back downstairs with the folder, walked past the kitchen where she was still sitting, and went straight to my car. She called after me. Where are you going? Out. When will you be back? When I'm ready. I drove to her mother's house. 25 minutes across town. Her mother answered the door, looking surprised. Oh, hello? I wasn't expecting you. Is everything all right? No. Can I come in? She stepped aside. I walked into her living room and sat down on the couch. She followed, worry creasing her face. What's happened? Your daughter threw her phone at me today. Told me to read her messages with a coworker. Months of affair messages. She said she's bored of hiding it. Her mother's face went pale. She what? I opened the folder, pulled out printed copies of the text messages I'd screenshotted weeks ago from the phone records. Also included were copies of the credit card statements showing hotel charges, restaurant bills on days she'd claimed to be working late. The investigator's photos of her and the coworker entering and leaving his apartment building. I've known for 3 months. I was gathering evidence before filing for divorce. She just decided to speed up the timeline. Her mother took the papers with shaking hands, read through them slowly. When she looked up, there were tears in her eyes. I don't understand. Why would she do this? You'd have to ask her. But I wanted you to see this before she tries to spin it. Before she makes me the villain in whatever story she tells. What are you going to do? File for divorce. Fight for custody of the kids. Try to come out of this with some dignity and tact. The children will be told an age-appropriate version of the truth. That their mother made choices that ended the marriage. Not the details. Just that sometimes people grow apart and make mistakes. Her mother wiped her eyes. I'm so sorry. You've been nothing but good to her. To this family. I appreciate that. I really do. But I need you to understand something. When she calls you crying, when she tells you her side, remember that you saw this first. Remember that I came here not to poison you against her, but to make sure you had the facts. I won't forget. I stood to leave. She walked me to the door, gave me a hug that felt like an apology for her daughter's choices. If you need anything, I know where to find you. I drove home. My wife's car was gone. The kids were back, confused about where their mom went. I told them she had to run out for something, made them dinner, helped with homework, got them to bed at the usual time. Normal routine. Keep everything stable for them while the foundation crumbles underneath. Update 1. She didn't come home that night. Texted me around 11 saying she was staying at a friend's house. I didn't respond. The next morning, I called a divorce attorney. Had a consultation scheduled for Monday morning. Friday afternoon, her mother called me. She showed up here last night. Hysterical. Asking why I wasn't supporting her. What did you tell her? That I'd seen the evidence. That I was disappointed. That she needed to take responsibility for her actions. How'd she take that? Not well. She accused you of turning me against her. Said you were manipulating the situation. I told her I'd seen the messages with my own eyes, that there was no manipulation needed. Is she still there? No. She left this morning. I don't know where she went. Okay. Thanks for letting me know. That weekend was strange. The kids kept asking where their mom was. I kept giving vague answers about her needing some time to herself. They sensed something was wrong, but didn't push. Kids are perceptive that way. Sunday night, she finally came home. Walked in around 8, after the kids were in bed. I was sitting in the living room, reading. She stood in the doorway looking exhausted. Can we talk? If you want to. She sat in the chair across from me. I've been thinking about everything. About what I want. And I want to make this work. I want to fix us. There's nothing to fix. You broke it. Deliberately. You weren't confused or lost. You made active choices for months. I made a mistake. You made hundreds of mistakes. Every text message. Every lie. Every time you chose him over our family. Those weren't mistakes. Those were decisions. So that's it. 16 years and you're just done. You were done months ago. I'm just catching up. What about the kids? We'll co-parent. Figure out custody arrangements. Try to minimize the damage you've caused. You're really going to divorce me over this? Yes. She started crying then. Not the sad crying of someone who's sorry. The angry crying of someone who didn't expect consequences. This is exactly like you. Cold. Unforgiving. No wonder I looked elsewhere. You can tell yourself whatever story makes you feel better. But we both know the truth. She went upstairs. I heard her moving around in the bedroom, packing a bag. She came back down 20 minutes later. I'm staying with a friend. We can figure out the details later. My attorney will contact you. You already got an attorney? I've had one for 3 weeks. Just waiting to file. Her face went red. You've been planning this? I've been preparing for the inevitable. There's a difference. She left. Slammed the door hard enough to wake the kids. They came downstairs confused and scared. I told them their mom and I were having some problems, that we'd talk about it more in the morning. Got them back to bed. Sat up until 3 in the morning staring at the wall. Update 2. Monday morning, I filed for divorce. By Monday afternoon, she'd been served. By Monday night, she was blowing up my phone with messages oscillating between rage and desperation. How dare you serve me at work? Everyone's asking questions. You've humiliated me. Please, can we just talk about this? I'll stop seeing him. I'll do whatever you want. I responded to exactly one message. Contact me through attorneys only. Then I blocked her number. Set up communication only through a parenting app for discussions about the kids. Clean boundaries. No room for manipulation. Her coworker's wife reached out to me on Tuesday. I didn't know her, but we had mutual friends apparently. She asked if we could meet for coffee. I agreed. She was younger than me, looked tired. I saw the divorce filing. My husband's name is in the papers. I'm sorry you're finding out this way. I'm not surprised. I've suspected for months, but convinced myself I was paranoid. Thank you for giving me certainty. I've filed for divorce too. How long were you married? 8 years. 2 kids. Same story as yours, probably. We sat in that coffee shop for an hour, 2 strangers bonded by the same betrayal. She asked if I was okay. I told her the truth. Not yet, but I would be. She said the same thing. The thing that kills me, she said before we left, is that they thought they were special. Like their connection was so unique that it justified blowing up 2 families. But they're not special. They're just selfish. Yeah, they really are. Update 3. The divorce moved fast. My wife tried to fight for full custody, claimed I was cold and neglectful. Her attorney presented me as an absent workaholic who'd driven her into someone else's arms. My attorney destroyed that narrative in one afternoon. Presented the evidence I'd gathered. The timeline of her affair. The money she'd spent on hotels and dinners. The messages where she'd bragged about deceiving me. Character witnesses who testified about my involvement in the kids' lives. The judge wasn't impressed with her. Granted joint custody, but designated me as the primary residential parent. She got every other weekend and 1 dinner per week. She was furious. Blamed me for turning the court against her. Her co-worker's divorce finalized around the same time. He didn't fare as well. His wife got primary custody and a significant portion of his assets. Word through mutual friends was that he'd started resenting my wife, blaming her for the mess. By month 3 post-filing, they'd broken up. She tried to come back, asked if we could reconsider, said she'd made a terrible mistake. I told her through the parenting app that our divorce would proceed regardless, and to please limit communication to child-related matters only. Her mother called me periodically to check in. Said her daughter was spiraling, making poor choices, refusing to take responsibility. Asked if I'd consider reconciliation for the kids' sake. The best thing I can do for the kids is show them what self-respect looks like. Staying with someone who betrayed me wouldn't teach them that. You're right. I just wish she could see what she's lost. She will eventually. But that's not my problem anymore. Update 4. The divorce finalized 6 months after I filed. She moved into a small apartment across town. Started dating someone new almost immediately. The kids came back from her place reporting strange men in the apartment, inconsistent rules, chaos. I documented everything through the parenting app. Built a case for modifying custody further if needed. My attorney said we had grounds, but suggested waiting to see if she'd stabilize. She didn't stabilize. By month 8 post-divorce, she'd lost her job. Something about inappropriate behavior at work. The rumor was she'd started something with another coworker and HR had gotten involved. She moved in with her newest boyfriend, someone the kids described as mean. I filed for full custody. The hearing was brief. She showed up looking disheveled, couldn't provide stable housing information, had no employment. The judge granted my request. She got supervised visitation every other week. She blamed me, sent messages through friends saying I'd destroyed her life, turned her family against her, poisoned the kids. But the friends who reached out to me knew the truth. They'd seen the pattern. They'd watched her make choice after choice that led exactly here. Her mother apologized to me again. I raised her better than this. I don't know what happened. Sometimes people just show you who they really are, and you have to believe them. Final update. It's been 2 years now since she threw that phone at me. The kids are doing okay. Therapy helped. They understand at an age-appropriate level that their mom made choices that ended the marriage. They don't hate her, but they're not blind to her instability. I've started dating someone new. Taking it slow. She knows the whole story, met the kids, understands the baggage. No rush toward anything serious. Just seeing where it goes. My ex is still struggling. Still blaming everyone but herself. Last I heard, she'd moved to another city, trying to start over again. The kids see her maybe once every few months when she makes the effort to come back for her supervised visits. Her mother stays in touch with me more than her own daughter. She's at the kids' events, helps with pickups when I'm in a bind, has become more of a co-parent than my ex ever was. She tells me sometimes that she mourns the daughter she thought she had. I mourn the marriage I thought I had, but I don't mourn ending it. That night she threw the phone at me. She thought she was proving she had power, that she could hurt me, and I'd have to just take it. But she'd misunderstood something fundamental. I had agency too. I had evidence. I had the ability to walk away with my dignity intact. She'd expected me to fight for her, to beg, to crumble. Instead, I documented, prepared, and executed. People ask me sometimes if I regret how I handled it. If I should have tried harder to save the marriage. But you can't save something the other person is actively destroying. All you can do is get out before you drown with it. The folder I brought to her mother's house that night, that was strategic. I knew my ex would try to control the narrative, play the victim, make me the villain. By getting to her family first with facts, I made that impossible. Her mother couldn't unsee those messages, those receipts, that evidence. Was it calculated? Yes. Was it cold? Maybe. But betrayal doesn't deserve warm responses. It deserves clarity, boundaries, and consequences. My kids are learning that too. Not through lectures, but through watching how I handled their mother's choices. How I didn't insult her to them, didn't make them choose sides, but also didn't pretend everything was fine. How I showed them that you can love someone and still walk away when they hurt you. The spare key I took from her purse? Small detail, but it represented something bigger. I was taking back access. She'd opened doors she shouldn't have. I was closing the ones she'd taken for granted. That drive to her mother's house is the last time I let my ex control any narrative about my life. Every decision after that was mine. Every boundary I set, every legal filing, every choice about my future, all mine. She's still out there somewhere, probably still telling people she's the victim of a cold, unforgiving husband. And maybe some people believe her. But the people who matter know the truth. And more importantly, I know the truth. That's all that matters.